Greetings everybody, giving all honours and praises to the Most High. My name is Sister Talia and welcome to my channel. Today I would like to give my testimony and share my testimony with you guys, and how I became awake and how I woke up in this truth, and my journey thus far in this truth. So just a little short background about me. I was born and raised in London for the most part. I've lived in Manchester for some parts of my childhood as well. I've been brought up to be a Christian. My grandmother, who was a Seventh-day Adventist churchgoer, she used to bring me to church every Saturday with her when I was a younger child, and you know, she was the one that actually gave me the foundation and gave me the concept of knowing that there is a creator and that there is a powerful force that governs everything in life. So anyway, my grandmother, she passed away back in '94, you know, so I was still very young when she passed away, but the foundation that she gave me always stayed with me, you know. As I grew up, you know, my parents, they weren't Christians, but I would still, my mother would still send me to church every Sunday, Pentecostal church, and for the most part, going to church for me when I was young was just to socialize. I didn't really learn much in the church that I was, you know, brought up in as a teenager. I officially left the church though when I turned 21. I left the church for good, and I just got to the point where I felt like questions that I had, they weren't being answered, and the pastor was being very flippant, very dismissive when I had a question presented, and instead of them just saying, you know, I don't know the answer to it, their kind of cookie cutter response would be just pray on it, you know. But if you're the pastor, you're the one leading the flock, surely, you know, if you are truly chosen by the Most High, he wouldn't withhold that sort of information from me, you know, or anyone who has questions, you know. So anyway, I just left, you know. My spirit, my inner being was just like, you know what, this is just a business, this is not even church, you know. So I left anyway. Then I was out in the world for a while, you know. I was lost, you know. I was kind of following different ideologies, you know, the conscious community, the you know, ancient Kemetic teachings, knowledge, and you know, looking up Marcus Garvey and Malcolm X, and you know, all the leaders from the past. And you know, I was doing that for a while, but then I just felt like the conscious community as a whole was very much about being braggadocious and not really the upliftment of the people, you know. And I just feel like everyone wants to call themselves leaders, but they don't have the skills or the know-how to lead, you know. And so I just said to myself, you know what, this ain't resonating with me anymore. And I didn't have that fire that I used to have in the beginning, you know. I was just so excited in the beginning to learn about my history, or what I thought was my history, you know, being taught that, you know, I'm an African descendant and XYZ and all that other stuff. So I kind of fell out with that as well, because it just wasn't doing for me anymore. And a lot of so-called conscious people were agents, okay. I'll leave it at that. So I stopped following that. My spirit weren't in that anymore, and then I just became kind of just I wasn't following anything basically. I was just getting up every day, going to work, doing the routine things of every day. But I always knew while doing that something was missing in my life, but I just didn't know what. I couldn't explain it, I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just knew that I didn't feel complete, I didn't feel fulfilled, and you know, I didn't know what to do to fill that void in my life, you know. So anyway, cut a long story short, I was laying in my bed one night randomly, because usually before I go to sleep I either watch videos on YouTube, or I read a book, or I'll just go and Google and just, you know, learn a new word, you know, or something, you know, just to kind of get my mind to feel sleepy and go to bed, you know, to wind down. So that's what I was doing, you know, for a long time. And then one night while in my bed, something within me just led me to click on a video that was made by a brother called the Prophet. So I clicked on his channel, and the video that I clicked on was the breakdown of the Get Out, the subliminal message of the movie Get Out. Now this was around the time when the movie Get Out was very, you know, much talked about, and people were giving their reviews and, you know, saying that, you know, how interesting the movie was. So I was just kind of intrigued to find out what the subliminal message of the movie is or was. Now mind you, at that point I still haven't seen the movie. I've only seen, you know, the clips that they've shown on the internet, and, you know, the breakdown of certain scenes and what they really mean and XYZ. So anyway, I clicked on the Prophet's video, and he was talking about Get Out and how he was using biblical scriptures to back up the points he was making, and how these movies that Hollywood is making is referring to the Hebrews, the ancient Hebrew Israelites, who are actually this, you know, people who fit the curses of Deuteronomy 28. Now obviously up until that point, I've been led to believe and been told that the Jews were those people that are living in Israel today. Those Khazarian Ashkenazis are the real Jews. But lo and behold, I was told otherwise, and there's biblical scriptures to back up that case as well. So I was mind blown. I've never ever in my life had someone read the Bible in such a way where not only does it make sense, but you can actually see how it fits even in today's society, and how black people of today are suffering and go through so much persecution, and there's no justice ever being done for these people being slaughtered like dogs in the street. I mean, it blew me away to the point that I was numb and stunned, and I kind of had to sleep on it for a few days, because I was just like, it was just too much for me to process. I was shocked. I was in real shock, but nevertheless I couldn't stop watching his channel. So I was on like a binge. I was like on a marathon, just watching all these different videos that he made from the past. You know, he made one about different movies like The Matrix, The Planet of the Apes, They Live, The Book of Eli, so many movies, Blade, so many movies from, you know, old school movies, and how he's using the Bible to really break down the subliminal messages these people have put in these movies. And it was just, it really took me away. It was something else, really and truly. I've never ever been, you know what it felt like? It felt like, you know, in the hospital when they use that, I forgot what they call them, that instrument they use to, you know, bring you back to life, or to restart the heart again. I can't remember what it's called, but yeah, I think you know what you talk about. They rub it together. You always see it in ER and those, you know, shows. In the UK, we have Hobie City, which used to be Casualty, but yeah, they used to use that instrument where they rub it together and they, you know, put it on your chest to restart your heart again. That's what it was like for me when I actually saw how the brother lined up the biblical scriptures to the movie, and how there was no way he could have made it up and tried to make it fit what he wanted to say, you know, to for his own self. It was deep, you know, and I cried. And I'm not a crier. I'm not really a crier. I rarely cry, you know, because when I go through things, I just suck it up and carry on, because that's what I've been taught my whole life. Just suck it up and move on, march on. You ain't got time to cry. You ain't got time to be feeling sorry for yourself. But at that moment, I had to break down and cry, because at that point, it was like the scales falling off my eyes. For the first time, I could see clearly, and it was just so much. It hit me so hard that I just had to cry, and I cried and I cried and I cried, and it was just like years and years of built up tension that was within was just coming out at the same time. Oh, I felt a release there, man. I felt released. And it was just such a release that I felt like a new person. I felt like, you know, when you have a massage, a good massage, and all the aches and the knots have been kind of taken out. That's what it was like for me, but on an emotional and spiritual level. It was deep, yo. It was deep. But once you know, I got myself together again, I immediately repented and asked the Most High to forgive me of my sins, and to please forgive me of, you know, kind of not knowing the truth and living a lie, basically, you know. And every day I still find it hard to comprehend how the Most High could still show so much love for me, knowing what I did, knowing that I transgressed, knowing that I broke the law, that I sinned, and yet he still wants to call me back and say, come home. He still wants to call me back and say, you are my child. He still wants to call me back and say, you are my chosen one. You are the apple of my eye. That in itself makes me want to cry all over again, because I don't deserve it. I know what I did when I was in the world. I know the wickedness I did. You know, many people may see things like lying or stealing as petty little things. Not that I lied or stole, but things that the world see as petty is wicked in the eyes of the Most High. And that's why I say things like, you know, I did wicked things because I did things that I felt was normal, because that's what society teaches you. Lo and behold, it is a wickedness. It is wicked in the eyes of the Most High. But one thing I didn't do though, or that I stopped doing a long time ago, this was like early 2000s, I stopped eating pork. I definitely stopped eating pork, and I stopped. There were just little things I stopped doing, you know, because again, my grandmother was a 7-day Adventist, so even from when I was young, we never ate pork. But when I went back to live with my mother after my grandmother died, you know, anything went, basically.